7 p.m. on our side here, and 6 p.m. in Nigeria, 5 p.m. in Ghana. Okay, so it's great to have you guys, and thank you for honoring my invitation. It's a privilege for me, so thank you so very much. So we, as I said in our discussion, this is just about every one of us talking about our experience that has been studying in Sweden, and applying at first, and getting the scholarship, and studying in Sweden, living in Sweden, how it's like, and all. All right, so everyone, you are welcome, everyone, and this is Popology, as you all know, live from Stockholm. We have Margaret from Uppsala, and that's about 20 minutes away from, or let's say less than 1 hour away from Stockholm. And we have Gothenburg on the west side, and Fumli on the south, south of Sweden, from Lund. So, welcome. Okay, now, so really, the format is, how it's going to go like is, I'm going to ask, each person basically the same questions, because every one of you, each one of you has different experiences. So it will be good to learn, to know what your experience has been. So I'll ask each one, the same questions, and then, we'll hear from each one, every one of you. And then after the rounds of questions, then we can, entertain questions for everyone else who is joining us, who's here to learn about what it is like to study in Sweden. All right, so yeah, so the first question that I would love to for us to talk about is okay. Hold on. All right, something about a brief introduction about ourselves. I'll start with Margaret. A brief introduction about you.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Margaret Aligbe. I'm studying sustainable development at Uppsala University, and I'm from Nigeria. So this is my first year. I'm going to my second year now. So that's it.
Okay. And Chike.
Hey,
about you.
My name is Chicken Dweche. You must have seen a lot about me from Mobology. I'm a master's student at the great University of Gothenburg. I study international administration and global governance, and I just finished my first year. So from September, I'll be in my second year. I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, Fumini, something about you.
Yeah, my name is Fumini Olatoye. From Nigeria, Southwest Nigeria. I'm born and bred in Lagos. I just rounded up my studies, Master's in Medical Science from the University of Lund. And I'm up for my next level in Lund. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Okay, now let's get to the crux of the matter. Now, I'm sure many people that are joining us are very interested in, winning this scholarship, and they're trying to know what it is that makes people, win this scholarship. I'll start with Fumini, because Fumini's case is quite, spectacular, because he and his wife applied for the scholarship at the same time, to the same university, the same master's program, and they won it together. I mean, thousands of people apply for this scholarship. So a couple, husband and wife, winning the scholarship it's spectacular. So we'd love to hear from you, What do you think you were involved in? Maybe you and your wife also, what you were involved in before, in terms of your work experience, your activities, your volunteering or network activities that you're involved in, that you think put your profile at the top of the pile, when the SI was considering applications. So from your own side, what do you think you were involved in that that you can tell others to also get involved in as they're applying for scholarships?
I'm not ashamed to say this, so I'll say it the way I used to say it. because that question is not new to me. But really, it's a question that I've always reflected on, and I must be sincere to everyone. There's what we call perfect timing, and I linked everything to God factor. It's not my first attempt of looking for scholarship, study abroad. I actually worked as a lecturer in Nigeria. I've worked as a clinician. Then I went into the university, and it was like a nosediving, especially when it comes to economic impact in my life. But I guess I knew what I wanted and where I want to be. So I'd been trying, and I told God, I don't want to save money up to go study abroad, but I need more experience, which is not in Nigeria as far as I was concerned. And that was it. So, and my wife Peter came on board, and we were working with the VC, Unimed in Ondo. I was lecturing in IFE, OAU, and he gave me an assignment to look for a grant for our department because we wanted to do an adjunct work in our department, medical rehabilitation in University of Medical Science. And when we were looking for it, one of my boss that we were working together just told me, can you get some scholarship from this? It was another Lindstrom University scholarship, also in Sweden. And we started digging at home with my wife, and we saw 335. That was the previous year of Swedish Institute Scholarship, 2017. We digged into it. We decided, we agreed, first time we're going to agree that we're going to do something together and all that. And sorry, Bolaji, I'm going to take time because you probably will appreciate if I put the narrative together for you to know what actually transpired and why I said it's a God factor. I'd worked, I had a number of years, more than the number of years required. I have many other required requirements by most of these universities, but I've never seen it come just like this. So we agreed on that. We prayed together, then we put together everything we had. And why I said it's God factor was that same year they reduced the number of slots they gave to the low and middle income countries. And then they've not actually shortlisted and removed many countries like as it was last year, or 2019. We still had about 134 countries, and they said they were going to give 60 slots. So, in fact, at the time we had prayed that both of us would get it, but at the time we agreed with God, let one person get it, we can both go. You know, I was even thinking that she should get it. Then I can join her the following in the following month or something. But as God will have it, they gave just 4 to Nigeria that year. They increased it to 80, and out of the 4, both of us got it. And we prayed about it, and God just gave us. And why I said it was God factor, there was a particular clause about a particular area of experience that Lund University actually gave during admission. They removed it from that year. It used to be there, but they removed it in that year. And the following year, they restore it. And that experience, my wife never had it. So she wouldn't have qualified for admission if it hasn't there, you know. And that alone confirms to me that this is God factor. So when it comes to that, it's God factor. And over the years, over the months of being in Sweden, I found out that you don't try to change the system. It's either you have it or you don't have it. So if you meet the requirements, then go for it. Put in your best to do as it is. It's like robotic here. I think most Western worlds are like that, but especially in Sweden, if they ask you to provide A, B, C, if it's going to be 12, 36 months, 33,000 hours, Don't put 2,999 hours saying that I don't understand that what's 1 hour. They are robotic. If it's not meeting the requirement, then it's not meeting it. So if you know you qualify, you meet all the requirements, then put it in and pray, believe in God factor. And I will say we are not the only qualified candidates in our climb. So one of the things that made me understand that when it's perfect timing, then it's perfect timing. When it's God, then it's God. Thank you. I hope that summarizes it.
Yeah. One thing you said was it's very important to when it comes to this application, especially to save the student, the requirements, the admission and everything is pretty straightforward. Once they tell you, okay, do this is what they want from you. I mean, just provide what they want from you, and it's life is easier that way. You don't have to start guessing like, okay, what do they want? What didn't they want? Whatever they want from you, they will always say it out before the application starts. So once you go to the website, the university websites, the scholarship websites, and they lay down that the requirements, it's just straightforward. Just make sure you provide those requirements and you're good to go. Yeah. So Chike, so from your own end, Chike, what do you think the experiences that you've been involved in, maybe your work experiences or your volunteering experiences, or anything you've done in the past that you think made you a good candidate for the scholarship?
Thank you very much. As Fumi has said, we are not the best qualified. Okay, and there is this particular thing I keep telling people when applying for scholarships. Follow instructions. Very important. Whether you have worked in the office of the presidency or you have you work with Angel Michael, like you have a whole lot of experience. If you don't follow instruction, your application will not be reviewed. Nobody's going to look at your application. Like placing your passport at the right place, calculating your work experience. And there was even a time that I had to, before I submitted my application, I had to send Bolaji a message whether I should submit a photocopy, colored copy or black and white, just to be sure. So, I mean, following instruction is very important. Like, if you don't follow instruction, they're not going to look at your application. And secondly, why I was applying for SI scholarship, that was in 2018, 2019. I applied for a whole lot of other scholarship, like the Chevening Scholarship, the TSG Scholarship, and then a whole lot of other scholarship. None of them worked. So finally, SI worked for me. And on the work experience, I believe that what helped me in my work experience was volunteering. Since when I came back from Yali, West Africa in Ghana, that was in August 2018, I started volunteering. Even before then, I was volunteering. But when I came back, I learned the importance of volunteering in organization. So I started volunteering for those organizations around Benin City, because that's where I grew up. So, what is that?
No. Continue.
So, when I was writing my application, I made sure that I included these volunteering experiences. So, and finally, God helped me, because I don't want to say this, because while I was applying for the scholarship in December, I met a priest and my parish priest. I told him I told him what I was trying to do, and there are a lot of other people trying to, apply for the same scholarship. He said I should pray, give me some prayers to do that. There was something he told me that I shouldn't bother, that I have gotten that particular scholarship already. If you check my Bolaji, if you can check our chat, after submitting my scholarship, I sent you a message that hoping to see you in Sweden, 2019. That was the last message I sent to you, if you can remember. So I was, I don't know, maybe it's called faith. I was so sure that I'm gonna get it. So, I mean, faith played a whole lot of role in winning this scholarship. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. I think what I've discovered, in my interactions with people that have won the scholarship is almost everyone had a number of volunteering experiences for one organization or the other. And I think, from my own perspective, I think that should be something that puts you over other candidates applying for a scholarship, because really everyone that qualifies for a scholarship has work experience, and what really separates the one candidate from the other at the end of the day would be how much of volunteering you've been involved in, how much you're involved in society, your work with mostly work that you don't have to be forced to do, something that you take up as an initiative for yourself or for your local community. So Margaret, so from your own perspective, how was it like for you? What do you think you were involved in? Because I think I saw most of your application, your documents and all.
In
And I saw
fact, in fact, God. Anyway, I followed Mobolaji from Twitter. The first time I saw his comments under Ogbeni Depot, that he said, if you want to study in Sweden, in fact, the speed I used to message him, that was how I met Mobolaji. I've never seen him before, and that was my motivation. Also, this getting this scholarship, this is not my first time of applying. I've applied before, I didn't get it. I got admission, but I didn't get it. So the second time, what I actually did was, I said, okay, what did I miss? I after the whole process was over and I finished crying, I said, okay, and I felt disappointed and everything. I went back, I read the SDG from beginning to the end, all the targets, all the indicators, so that when I was applying the second time, I indicated, like I was how would I put it? I was deliberate in the words that I used, in the way that I applied. And then when it was time for me to apply for admission, at first I put SLU first and I put Uppsala second. But I was like, I'm actually, I want to do full science. I want something that would take me from the field of science, because I graduated 2007, 2008 from Kogi State University. So all those agri-econs, all those animal biochemistry I did, in fact, I've forgotten I've forgotten it. So I just wanted something that would be relevant. And now, like the last minute, the last day, I swapped sustainable food systems for sustainable development. And then when the admission came, and the funniest thing was, the way they do admission in Sweden, after you qualify, you will wait and wait and wait and wait. Do I get admission? Am I going to end up on the waiting list? God, after the other courses qualified, and I was still waiting for Uppsala. Uppsala came like the last minute, and I thank God I got him. And I'm proud to say that in my class, I'm the only student from Africa. It's so strange. Like, I'm studying sustainable development and I'm the only student from Africa, but people find it hard to believe, but that's how hard it is. And when we resumed, they told us in the class that there were over 300 applications, and they gave only I think we are 59 in my class. So you can imagine how tough. And the course is multidisciplinary, because we have engineers in class, we have lawyers, we have people from medical background. It's very, very tough. So, and then what I want to say in the scholarship is, what I did the second time was, I made up my mind to work with Lagos Food Bank, not because they were paying me, but they had this concrete, they had this concrete, the NGO was concrete, what they were doing was concrete. There was like proof that when I was applying, I put so website that I worked with when they were doing Bella Niger. There's this program we do every December with Bella Niger. So when I was doing my application, I put the website there that this is this. So it was much more specific. Mobology can bear me witness. Like my first application and my second application, there was considerable difference with it. So what I want to tell people is, this thing you have to be deliberate. Like, hey, the dot, every you have to cross every T. You have to be deliberate. There's nothing like trial and error. You just have to be deliberate. Read every detail. Like, in as much as Mobology is there to help you, Mobology is there. Can you hear me?
Of course.
Yeah, I can hear you.
In as much as Mobology is there to like assist you, you know, you have to read this instruction by yourself. You have to like let Mobology helping you be like, okay, help me check my commas, help me check, but you would have done the work. It really, really helps. That's it. So this is my story. In fact, I want to encourage everyone that is listening. Please don't give up. I'm begging you. Please don't. I graduated 2007, 2008 from Kogi State University. So I'm not a fresh graduate. I'm not, you don't know how many times I've applied for, in fact, that I've failed. Is it Canada? Is it US? Is it UK? Trying to get this scholarship. But when my time came, like Fumini said, it just clicked. And also what I did was, I looked out for people that had the scholarship before. I was contacting them, asking them questions. There's one lady too that went to Uppsala, Chinonso. She's doing her PhD now. Nonso Ekweoba.
Chisom,
yeah.
I know.
She's doing that. So I was asking a lot of questions, and there's another guy from Sudan too that I went to Uppsala that did this my course. So I just encourage you all to be deliberate. That's all I have to say. And please, if you're not on Twitter, go to Twitter. There's so much, there's nothing on, I'm not saying Facebook is bad, but you get more information on scholarships on Twitter. That's where I met Mobology, and look at me today. So that's it.
Yeah. From what you said, it's very important to be very deliberate. As in, you don't just go into the application and say, hey, let me just try it. Because if you do it, you just be, after you put in all your effort and everything, going into your university to get your document, at the end of the day, you just be, heartbroken because you really were not, deliberate from the beginning of the applications. That's why usually people get the scholarship are people who have applied before, because they know that okay, it's painful to apply for this thing to not get it, and they know that, man, if I really want to win this thing this second time, I need to like read, I need to study, I need to know what they want, I need to very, very important. And as I usually say, I started my applications. I started my preparations for the scholarship early enough that I was looking at everything. I was studying. I was during that period, a few months before the application started. Anything Sweden like this, I would just be doing it.
Yeah, in the spirit, just measure Sweden like this. Your antenna will just catch it.
It's very, very important. Very, very important. Right. So now, guys, so what has been your experience like, living and studying in Sweden? Like, especially when you compare it with studying at home in Africa and in Sweden, what has it been like? Let's start with Fumini. Like going to classes, the education system, and the healthcare system, and yeah.
Yeah. Going to classes, I've, like I said, I've lectured in Nigeria, so I understand our pedagogical system, and it's a lot different here. I came here And I started seeing a beautiful situation, you know. And number one, you could read from the syllabus, step by step, everything it takes, the number of percentage of online studies, the number of percentage of physical class studies, the assessment criteria, even from the beginning, you have it, everything is well stated out. There's no try and error. There's no, I mean, you can only change yourself. The system has a very plain white and black that doesn't change you in any area. And over time, that's how I contribute. I try to put my experience from back to front. And even you find out that even in the assessment criteria, there are ways you can impute your desire, your form of comfort with study in your assessment criteria. Having said that, it's usually for my studies, master's medical science, we have classes maybe twice a week. You have most courses 50% online self-study and 50% you go to class, and it has been like that. So when I try to acclimatize in 3 months, I tell you the next thing I was looking out for was how do I get a job to augment what I'm doing, what I have from SI, you know, because it's so easy, it's so straightforward, not that easy. I'm not like saying if you know what you're doing, if you're really ready for the study, then it is easy that you know this is what I need to do. It's unlike where I study, where I lecture in Nigeria, that I have to, you know, go to class, teach a particular syllabus that we are not sure we're going to cover at the end of the semester, and bombard students with a lot of theories, you know. But in this case, we have what we need to attain. It's more of a research work, master's medical science. So I know, like, I'm going to be doing like the kind of publication I've been doing, research projects after each course. You know, that's just what it looks like. So I just study like the same way we go to look at what are the journal requirements for publication. I just study everything like that. I internalize it. Then I tell myself, okay, this is what I will do. And that's how simple it can be. But if you are really not used to the research work, reading extensively and all that, it might prove very challenging, which it will prove very challenging, I must say the truth, because some of my colleagues, you know, never found it easy. But I tell you the truth, 4 months into my studies, I was already doing close to another full-time job when I know that I only have to be in class twice in a week, you know, and that was it. That was it. So it's that straightforward. You need to read extensively. I mean, I tell myself, I interact with some of my colleagues outside Lund in Sweden, and I said, Lund is a crazy place to study. But I think I'm used to some form of stress, some form of mental challenges and all that. So it went well with me. So you know when you're supposed to be in class. If a class is compulsory, they tell you, it's stated that this class is compulsory, you must make it. If you don't make it, then you have to make up for it. Then there are classes that are not compulsory. It's there, it's not compulsory. You have a choice if you want to go or not, you know, but you have what you need to fulfill at the end of each course, each period. And that's it. So the fact that you know where you are going, you know what to do to get there. Even if you don't know, it's well stated. And if you're a serious person, then you know how to go about, how do I need to get to this destination? What do I need to put in and all that? So it's that straightforward, very straightforward, white and black. And that makes it interesting.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. So Chike, your program is not science based, it's humanity, right? Yeah. So what has it been like, especially when you have to go to labs, you know, studying in Göteborg, especially in your program?
Okay. Sorry to say this. Um, One of the most shocking thing I met in Sweden when I came to Sweden was there was this professor in my department. She was so fond of me, probably because I have a lot of experience when it comes to African politics and a lot of things about Africa. So initially, I used to call her Professor Marina, Professor Marina. She had warned me several times to stop calling her professor. Like if I want to call her, I should just call her Marina. However, when if I call her Marina, for me it will be like if is so disrespectful. Like this was not how I was brought up. Like it was shocking to me. Later, I had to adjust. Like started Marina. Okay. Sorry for digressing. Okay.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
In terms of the curriculum and the study system here, it is very flexible, unlike what we have in Nigeria. Like master students, from according to what Funmini said, um, they have compulsory classes and the class that are not compulsory, like the seminars. If you miss a compulsory seminar, you have to do a makeup writing for it. And in terms of exam, the way it is here, if you fail an exam, I don't know about other schools, but in Gothenburg, if you fail an exam or any test, they will give you a maximum of 2 weeks or a month to write it back and submit. Like the lecturers or the system is so engaged in you. I mean, like they want you to succeed, like they want you to flourish. They want to see the best in you. So I mean, it's like a totally different from what I experienced in my undergraduate studies in Nigeria, in University of Benin, precisely. So, and finally, for example, when the coronavirus pandemic started, there was a particular course that we are about to do. It was about global security and migration, global security and migration. Yes. So when we are about to start the course, the coronavirus pandemic started. They had to show you how flexible these guys are. They had to change the course to capture the different nations' reaction to the global pandemic, like to capture how heads of state and different countries are reacting to to secure their citizens. So that was also a shock to me, like the
way they
lecturers.
updated the course and all.
Huh?
So the way they updated the course outlines and all.
Yes, they just changed it immediately, and you had to, I mean, to be updated. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I think the story about your course and all reminds me of actually that you can, if you fail a course, you can write it as many times as possible again to pass it. So, and me, from where I came from, I was afraid of failing courses. So there was a particular course that I went for lectures that I registered for. And from the way the lectures were going, I was like, oh boy, I cannot pass this course. I write this exam. Like the course was, damn, I couldn't understand what was going on. So the exam came, I missed it. I didn't write the exam. So the course was just pending there. And it was, I think it was the final semester, my final semester of penultimate semester in school. I decided, okay, let me write this course now. Let me write the exam. So I had to go to the classes again with another set of students who were not my class, my level at that time. So I had to go to the class again and write. And I was confident to write the exam. I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm good to write the exam. So I wrote the exam and I passed it. So that's how flexible the system can be. You can, if you fail the course one time, you can write it as many times as possible to pass it. And in fact, if you get bored of school, maybe you are in school and you are bored of classes, you are bored of going to school, you can just spend can just suspend it and, maybe find some work or something to do.
And sorry to add this, and the way they treat students here, you can walk up to a lecturer and tell the lecturer that you have a lot in your mind, that he will say, oh no, calm down, take your time, take your time and do this. Like there's so much care about your mental health, like what you're passing through. There was this friend of mine from Nigeria. So while we were writing our final paper for this semester, it was 6,000 words final paper for a particular course. So he couldn't finish up because of like the topic he chose, he was writing on was so wide. So he messaged the lecturer that he has a lot on his mind about the coronavirus, about his family in Nigeria. Like, so when he sent the lecturer the email, the lecturer had to call him immediately. That was in the evening, that, and started like, pampering like that he should take his time, and to add to this, here, I'm sure about master students in Gothenburg here. The system and the school and the lecturers, they give you a flat, how should I put it, a wide scope. To think outside the box. Even when you are writing a paper, they will tell you that nothing is wrong. No argument is wrong. It depends on how you place your argument. You can argue anything. Like, they give you a whole lot of spaces to think outside the box, to include your own contribution, whether it's right or wrong. It depends on how you structure your argument. So, a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Margaret, so from your own experience, how has it been like, studying at Uppsala University? I used to think you were studying at SLU until.
Okay, no, SLU is different from Uppsala. We actually had some courses with SLU.
Uppsala is the oldest university in Sweden.
Yeah, then SLU is the agricultural university. It's in like they're in opposite sides of the town.
Yeah, so how has it been like, studying classes and all? Okay. Especially with your baby.
In fact, it's only in Sweden. I pray. Make I fit do school like this for Nigeria. I pray. So what I actually want to say, before I say what I want to say, is that if you have what I want to say for every applicant here is, if you actually have the experience for the scholarship, what to write will not be difficult. So I wanted to add that too. Okay. About my study, I take light for here. Internet, they like water. You want browse, you go browse tire. So, and also, like what Chike said, you address people by their first name. Nothing like title for here, nothing like professor. They keep correcting you. After some time, you get, it's just odd, but after some time, you get used to it. Also, in this place, grades are not important. Yes, I know you want to pass with distinction, but your goal is how to apply what you have learned. If you cannot apply what you have learned, then you have not learned anything. And that's why when I first came, I was reading with the Nigerian listing. But when I saw the exam is home exam, write a paper, 1,500 words, 500 words, and then you are there, like, with what you have learned, you don't know how to apply it practically. It's difficult. And then also here, you will learn group work, like you learn how to pass with a group. You don't learn how to, you don't learn how to outshine everybody in the class. It's not about carrying first. Yeah, it's not about carrying first in the class. The goal is to work with a group, because if your group doesn't do well, it will affect your grade. That is it. So for instance, if the final grade for the course depends on 50% group work, 50% individual essay, even if I have highest of 5 in my individual essay, if my group work is not good, it's going to affect my final grade. So, and then also as Chike has said, not all classes are important, which is what I find very, very interesting. Like, when you start the semester, you know the classes you want to attend. You know, so it will help you to actually plan your whole, and that's why what Kumini was saying, you can plan your time and decide to work, like use your extra time to work. And having a scholarship, you can decide to do anything else. If it's to volunteer, to just build your Swedish experience profile, that too matters. And then what else? Yeah, that's it. And also what I learned is when I first came, the fact that I was the only African student in the class, and then a lecturer came and was doing poverty porn in class. And at first I was so reluctant to actually say, this is not, everybody in Africa is not poor and everything. So one day when we were having a lecture, I actually challenged the lecturer that, have you been to Africa? He was like, no, I haven't been to Africa. And then I found that really interesting, because the fact that I'm able to challenge a lecturer to give my own perspective, and for lecturer not to conclude, and then the lecturer apologized for the way I was feeling, because he noticed that I was the only person from Africa in the class, and maybe that would have gotten to me. So that is really helpful. And then my course coordinators, they are really, really, really helpful. Because when I had my baby in January, so, and I had this baby in January, and as I had the baby, I did presentation. They told me that I can defer it if I want, but the Nigerian in me, I just had to push, because no, I just had to push. And because of the way I was determined to push, it was like, in a way, they saw it as something good, and then they went out of their way to help me and everything. It's a nice place to study, you know, although in the winter it's actually difficult, you know, 2 o'clock, 2:30, it's already dark. And then that's, in fact, it's very, very difficult. Chike, they laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like 2:30. The first time it happened, I was checking my time. I was like, is it that my research is not working, or I don't even know what was happening? So, and then in summer that we are now, it doesn't get dark.
Oh boy, 11 p.m. There's still light.
As in,
by 4 a.m. Day has broken again.
Yeah, so if you don't sleep, if you don't maximize how you sleep, in fact, it can be a challenge.
Someone asked a question in this about whether we write take-home exam. Yes,
take-home exam now. You gotta write paper.
We call it take-home exam here. I don't know what other people call it in other schools.
It's take-home exam.
So
you go home and write paper.
The first time I heard about the take-home exam, I was happy that it was gonna be simple. However, the take-home exam, if you don't read, you're not gonna do well in it. Because to tell you what Margaret was talking about, what they need you to write is not about, like the question in your take-home exam is not something like to open textbook and start copying. I mean, it is what you have to apply, what you have read before, and what you studied in school, and what you are taught in class, like how to apply it in the real life situation.
Yes.
And
you have to read, because you need academic reference now, you know, like they'll say, bring 5 academic reference.
Yes, like
solid ones.
So you must have read something. And sorry to say this, Margaret says something about arguing with a lecturer. Please, if you are studying in Nigeria, or if you're in your final year and you're don't try it at home.
It's sweet you are saying, no, it's not Nigeria.
Don't try it at home.
Can I say this? Sorry, if you're finished. You know, like I said, that I lecture in OAU, and even as a lecturer, there are many things I cannot do with my boss. And when I'm talking about my boss, I'm talking about my colleague, maybe just my senior colleagues, even senior lecturers. And you see the way they will pencil you down, the way they will begin to match. I mean, you're throwing your promotion here, and those are the things. How much more student? And I have a way of relating with my students when I was in Nigeria. And on 1-2 occasions, I've been called by that you don't do that. You don't, not just even students. I mean, non-academic staff. That, why are you playing with? Why are you talking like that? Why are you bringing yourself down? I mean, and that's
what is actually affecting us. It's affecting us in Nigeria.
Yeah. So it takes me back to our value, our orientation in Nigeria. And it actually, like Chike said, it affected me when I got here. One of our classes, I think our very first classes, the professor was giving us a feedback. Carita, of course, I quickly learned to call them by name because I found that's what is saying. But I was sitting on my stand, she stood just beside me and squats. And I felt so, I mean, my professor squatting and I'm sitting on it. So I stood up. I stood up and like, no, sit down, sit down, you know. And all these things matters to me. Like, I mean, for me, actually, are you okay? you know, you know. But it's not me, just the system. And we have 2 kids here. When we got here, we didn't register them in school before coming to Nigeria and all that. And we had to start class. You know, we found that our lecturer, I'm not talking about the counselor, our lecturers were the one going up front, looking for schools and getting people connection, applying on our behalf and all that. That is just the system we are in here. So you have to prepare your mind that you're coming to a very different system.
Yes.
If you want to take 4 years to study, 5 years to study, it's okay. Nobody's going to push you. You know, they just believe do things at your own pace. Even if you cannot finish, it's okay. It's just your choice.
Even when I gave birth, they told me that I should leave it till next year. And even if I told SI, but I just what will I be doing a whole year? Like, just what will I be doing? But you see that they went out of their way to help me, like my course coordinators, my lecturers, even the guy I worked with is from my group member. That at that time we had a course, environmental impact assessment. The guy is from India. He went out of his way, like, you know, the orientation is different, you know. So you like, because of for the question I asked about the poverty porn in my class, then it now made them to like adjust the course, and then the courses that were coming after to just give us that flexibility. I remember in my class then, a lady from Italy, somebody came and talked about your rights as a student in the school, and then the man said something that was offensive to her, and she stood up and said she doesn't like what the man said. The man apologized. In Nigeria, can your VC apologize to you or your registrar?
You know, speaking about this, when I came to this place, when I came to Sweden, in my in our first class, the first course we did, we are divided into groups. So I was the person to represent my group in presenting. So on the day of presentation, I had to wear my corporate like dress well, like I want to present. So I had to dress well with my tie. So when I got to class, I saw some of my classmates, my fellow speakers. So we are wearing jeans with jackets, with hood on their head, like. So
students.
Am I in the wrong class? Are you sure this is my class? Because this idea of presenting in Nigeria followed me to this, but that once to present, you have to dress. After seeing these things, that in order my subsequent presentation, at times I wear jeans with my then
because the goal is not about whether you know how to present. The goal is not whether you know how to present. The goal is it's about like your application, you know. Yes. The goal is application. Which is very in Nigeria they say cram. They say okay, define. Like when I came, I thought they were going to ask me what is sustainable development. Nobody's asking what is the sustainable development. For you to start cramming Broadland report, they are asking you, how do you explain in practical context? How do you apply it? And that is when you start cracking your head. Okay, that thing is very, very difficult. Write 500 words. Define what does sustainable development implies, and then you are facts.
Yeah. In that, if I may add, the courses. It's as easy as the moment you're registering for the course and the course is being uploaded on whatever platform you use, maybe it's Lovit or QPS, whatever platform you use, you see your exam. The exam that you have to write in 10 weeks or 9 weeks time, you're going to see it. You've not even started the course.
Yes.
But you see the exam. And the beauty of it is, they made it in a way that it is applicable from your profession, from where you are coming from.
Exactly.
think about it. So it's something that you're going to build. And these people have experience. You cannot threaten, like Margaret was saying, you are not going to go carry a textbook or go carry one journal and download. There's anti-plagiarism.
You know that when you are submitting assignments, the platform, Fumini, you know when you are submitting assignment, the platform has a plagiarism check.
That's what I'm talking about. You're going to submit it and automatically they're going to check it for plagiarism.
Yes.
So it's something that you are going to read yourself, build yourself, and they design the way that all those courses you're going to present it. So while you're doing presentation, if it is not your work, there's no way, even myself as a student now, there's no way I will not know that, no, you've not done this yourself. But if you've done it, there are a lot of things because you must have read white. You must have composed everything together. You must have your line of thought, your thinking, everything must have gone into the work. And that's what you'll be presenting when in fact, when you'll be presenting beyond what you even in your paper. And those are the things. Because at first, when I got it and I want to write it, and I'll be seeing 3,000 words, 3,500 words, 8, 9 pages, and I'll be like, "What do you expect me to write without?" I mean, but at the end of the day, you find out that even the 3,500 words is not enough because you must have read wide and have understanding of exactly what you are presenting, and that's what makes it so beautiful. It is application, not theory that we are used to in Nigeria.
Thanks. Thank you guys for sharing your, your very, very experiences. So I think we should now go into, the questions that, people have been posting in the chat. So what we'll do, I'll just ask the question, or, recite the question, and anyone can, provide an answer and talk about it. So starting with this, someone asked, how can I write a motivation letter that would be top notch? Like, how do you write a motivation letter that is right up there that can, win you the scholarship? What do you think, Chicken?
Yeah, someone speaker is, interrupting.
Yeah, I've muted it already.
Sorry, come up with the question again.
How do you write a motivation letter that would be top notch? That can get you the scholarship. What are those things you should put into your motivation letter that will make it a solid one?
Okay. It depends on the scholarship you're writing. I mean, if you're talking about SI, one thing I have learned about SI scholarship application is that they are, unlike Chevening and other scholarships or Commonwealth scholarship, SI requires short and straightforward answer. Like, of all the scholarship I've applied, SI is the most, in terms of length of words, SI is the least or the smallest I have written, like straightforward to the question. And when you are asked a question in your application, you should try as much as possible to get rid of irrelevant stuffs from your application, like going straight to the answering the question. Okay, I was discussing about writing this particular SI scholarship essay with someone. I was teaching the person how to digress, how to answer a particular question. For example, am I permitted to use an example here?
Yeah, you can provide an example, sure.
Okay. For example, you are writing about agriculture. For example, you are writing about sustainable agriculture, or you are writing about seedlings in agriculture. If you want to answer such a question, maintain the particular your particular line of argument. There's a particular something you want to argue. I mean, like you are writing about seedlings. Now you are talking about bush burning or other things, which is not related to your line of argument. Because why this is important, because most people or people that are reading your application, they are not agriculturists. Some of them are even coming from economic point of view or different distance. So, I mean, when they're reading the application and see that your argument is going towards and they can get easily distracted with your argument. Like they can be reading an argument and you are saying they have a lot of other scholarship essay to review. And as Nigeria will say it, you don't have charm in your mouth to convince them to read your own for a long time. Like they have other things to do. So I mean, make sure your argument goes straight to the point. When you are discussing something, and moreover, or to add to this, after writing your application, it is always wise to give it to someone to review it for you before submission, even if it's not Bolaji or whoever, any other person. Make sure someone's review your application for you so that the person can pinpoint out where you made a mistake or where you need to change. And even when the person has pinpointed where you need to change, it is still less for you to use your own instinct or your own initiative to decide whether you have to do this or not. So,
yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Okay, now I want to pose a question to everyone. That's from what someone asked, because it's a question about your grades. If it's really important for the scholarship application, if maybe you finished with pass or third class, second class lower, or second class upper, or first class, if it really matters. So I will just ask us what grades we finished with from university. Because I finished with second class upper. So Margaret, I don't know if you don't mind.
Yeah, I finished with a 2-1.
And Chike?
Yeah, I finished with a 2-1, second class upper. Nearly first class.
Okay. Tony, I can see you.
Yeah.
What were you?
What did you finish with?
What do you finish with?
Yeah.
Yes, and me, Bolaji, I would like to still add to what Chike had said concerning the motivation letter.
Okay.
That if you go back to it, or I just talk about it now. But I finished with pass with credit. In health sciences. We don't use first class, second class. So it's either you pass with credit, or pass with distinction. So I finished with pass with credit. But in Sweden, in SI, they really don't. They are not this. There are some scholarship that are after achievement, educational achievement, but many, including SI, are not after your first class or your third class. You pass, you pass. Do you have the requirement? Every scholarship has particular requirement. When it comes to SI, we're talking about leadership attributes, and that's what they want you to project. So, and leadership attributes, you're talking. I'm already going to what I said. But is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So they want you to talk about the leadership attributes. So you personalize what they are demanding from you, your future plan, where you are now, how you want to integrate all these things. And where we're talking about, Margaret has talked about it, SDG goals. So where as your profession or your study or your discipline appear in the SDG goals, what do you want to do with it? When you have it, what is your future plan? What are you bringing on board? Those are the things. So personalizing it, being concise with it. It's good to say I'm a high flyer in this area, in that area, in this area. After saying all that, what has that amounted to? What are you going to do with it in the future? Those are the things. So it's not about how I've been able to do well at home in theory. Now, how do you plan to apply it to humanity? Not necessarily within the world at large, your vision, and those are the things they want to work with. I remember when we were doing opening the kickoff ceremony in Stockholm, 2018. I asked one of the, because they introduced those that actually screened our papers, and I asked one of them, like, what do you guys consider, when you were doing this? And she said, see, it's not about the course you study. It's not about, of course, she mentioned one course. Of course, SI will not consider you are coming to Sweden to study Swedish or European studies. And that will not. But for most other studies, it will be bias on their part to say, oh, this is not as relevant to SDG as this profession. No, you have to convince us on the plan, the future, your vision as it relates to SDG goal. And those are the things they are looking out for. You know, so personalize it. They know that this is personalized. This is your vision. It's coming. And usually when you personalize your vision to SDG goal, it's very unique because everyone is unique in their approach to things. You know, so that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's like what I said earlier. If you actually did the work, it is not. If you actually did the work, it's easy for you to. If you actually did the work, it's easy for you to write your application, because you don't have to use so many words to say like it's something that you actually did. So part of what I did, I think I saw a question somebody was asking me. Part of what I did was like I was working in Lagos Food Bank. I was enjoying the work. I wasn't there because of what I was going to gain or anything. I enjoyed the work. And part of why I was there, I read about zero hunger, because that was like the core, zero hunger, goal 1 and goal 2. And then I read about other food banks all over the world. What are they doing that is relevant to SDG? So that when I was writing my application, I could relate it on a global scale. So I think that is, if you actually do, that's what I have to, if you actually do this thing, if you actually volunteer, if you're actually part of the work, to write your application you don't even need too many English. It will be so easy. So you don't have to do tautology, like you have to like try, you don't need to convince, you actually did. And that's why I said, if you did work in a reputable NGO, a reputable company, when you put their website, like I've worked in Zenith Bank, even although where I went to work on a farm, that place didn't have a website. But because I've worked in Zenith Bank, I've worked in Lagos Food Bank. Lagos Food Bank has a website. Zenith Bank has a website. So those two I put in my application. Like it's, even if the farm work I didn't have a website, the other two that I put was really boosted my application. So I think if right now you are thinking of volunteering, look for an NGO that is reputable, so that when you say you did this and you put in you say it's like what I actually did. I actually used Bella Naija posted the work we did then in December. Bella Naija do good on their website. It's Bella Naija's website that I didn't even put Lagos Food Bank when I was talking about the leadership. So that's it.
Thank you. So I want to ask about the COVID-19. Okay, thanks.
Is it okay for me to contribute?
Yeah, you can say something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. I usually wrap up this motivation letter in 3 ways, because I like making things appear so simple for myself. And like Fumi said, own your story. We all have a story. Number 2, I see it like you have to marry 3 aspects: your past education, your work experience. Let it relate to what you are applying for in Sweden. And then after then, you need to study so hard to see how your past experience and education relates to this education and what you want to do with it in the future. How will that add to you, to your local environment, or to the world at large? And in that, then you need to study hard to see what are the research gaps in your field. Like Margaret said earlier, you should be specific, you should be deliberate. Look for research gaps in your field. In Nigeria, we know that we are lagging behind in many areas. So if I'm an accountant, what is lagging in my field? So when I do this course, I cannot fill this space when I finish with my experience in Sweden. So you need to study to see where is the need. What am I going to add with my study? Yes, most of us will not really have any passion to study, but we need to convince SI to get the scholarship. So for that, you have to do a lot of research. Where is the gap? Where is the gap? Where is the gap in your field? Yeah, so where is the gap in your field? Study hard to see that. And then another thing I look at is that when you look at the trend of research or the new trends in your field, look at where Nigeria is in that aspect. Like she said about zero hunger and everything. Where is Nigeria in this world beautiful goals? We are lagging behind. So how will your study fill this gap? If you are able to marry that with your past experience and whatever, they said they are not specific about the voluntary work or the NGO work you have done, but just that you have done something that's ready to give you personal gain. You are doing it for humanity's sake. In my own aspect, we had only 1 month break while I was in school in India. I used that 1 month to volunteer as a clinical worker in the hospital. It's not something great, it's not something big. I couldn't go back to Nigeria for holidays, so I spent that time to volunteer. And I wrote that as part of my voluntary work. And at the time in Nigeria, I was not really having an engagement. I was volunteering as a teacher in the university because my profession is very, very rare. We don't really have lecturers. So I was volunteering as a volunteer lecturer. So the things I put, I didn't really have any big names of organization or something. They were personal to my own story, related to my field, and I felt a gap and I contributed. So if you can bring that gap out, why did you volunteer? What did you give? In measurable terms, not that I did this. Responsibilities, your roles, what did you do? In terms of, I did this, it gave this result. I did this, it gave this result. So be specific in what you do. It doesn't have to be something great. Just anything that you have done that doesn't really give you any personal gain or cash, that you are doing it to give back to society. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, someone asked about
Mobolaji. Remember the second application that we discussed? You know, you were talking about numbers. Like I did so and so. This like
being very specific about
yes, like I remember the application that I put in for that Lagos Food Bank and the farm work I did. How many people we helped? This thing is very, very important. I helped so and so people. These are the so number of people that are my team.
Okay, continue.
It makes your application easy. You know, you can talk. That's all.
Okay. I know most of us here must have heard about the SMART, SMART, how to write essay and application. That's what I have been using. Even when I was applying for yearly West Africa, I've been using it. For those who don't know what it means specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant, and time bound. So from what Fumi said and what Margaret said, your argument or your discussion or whatever in your essay should be specific and it should be measurable. Like if you say you have trained people in agricultural system or whatever, you should mention the number of people you have trained. You can't just say that, oh, you have trained people in the past years. I mean, you must say the number of people you have trained. Or if you say that when you finish your studies, you intend to train people, what you intend to do after your studies or after winning the scholarship. It must be something achievable. Like you can't just say that you want to end hunger in Nigeria or in Africa. You want to end hunger in the world, or you want to end poverty. No. It doesn't make sense. It's not achievable. You're not God. and it must be attainable, like something you can do, and it must be relevant and then time bound. And when it comes to time bound, like you want to do this, okay, say you want to help local women in agriculture to secure a loan. Like, when do you intend to do it? Okay, I intend to do it from 2025 to 2027. Like, you give a time bar. You give a time bar of when you want to do it, so that, like, your essay will be smart. Thank you.
Yeah, great contributions from everyone. Yeah. So someone is quite interested in our leadership experiences, especially the ones that we used to apply for the scholarship. And I think if we, talk briefly about our experience, especially leadership or experience or volunteering experiences, the one that we put in for the application, I think they can also learn about what aspect of their experiences they can bring in or what they need to do, because there's still enough time before the next application starts. For me, really, the only major leadership experience that I presented for scholarship was from my university days. So it wasn't like, it was not until after I finished school, it was while I was in school. And I had some, while I was in school, I helped organize some, medical outreaches to rural places, to villages around the state, in Lagos, in Oyo State. So it was that experience. Now, when you look at the experiences, you may think, it's not really big. It's not big. It doesn't sound big. But really, the main thing is you need to look at the details of your work experience. When you start looking at, okay, I worked with a team of this number of people. I helped impact the lives of this number of people. I helped bring free medical supplies to this number of people. And when you start explaining those things in your applications, then you kind of see that it's really something that is tangible, that can really win you scholarship. So that's, for me, what I presented. So how about you, Margaret? What leadership experience especially did you present for the scholarship application?
Yeah, well, in my application, I talked about what I did on the farm, and I was mediating with, because where I was working, the women were saying that pay us our money, and then the men came like, we want you to give us the money as per head of the family. So what I did was me mediating to like solve the whole problem. I wrote that in the application. So that's it. And I think there's another. I think there's another application. I think we wrote 4 different letters also, right? If I can remember. Then the other one I talked about how I was interface between Dela Nigeria and Lagos Food Bank. So like, yeah. So just
Okay.
for that
leadership
project. Yeah, what you said, Mobology, it has answered the question someone asked about whether their NYSC experience can serve as leadership. Someone asked that in the question.
Yeah, I think I saw something like that.
Yeah, so what you said about your experience in school can also serve as it. So my case is different. Like I have so many. I've worked for so long before I came to apply. So I just had to pick any of the work I've done to do this thing. So
Okay, for me, I have various leadership experience.
Or let me say the one that you presented for this.
That's what I want to say. And when I was writing my application, I had to use the most recent one and the most captivating one. That was the one I did when I came back from Ghana. So I had this. I organized public speaking too, because I'm so much interested in the Girl Child initiative on Girl Child affairs. So I had to go from school to school, some schools in my region in Edo State, and with my friends, we are teaching young girls how to reduce, not to put an end, teenage pregnancy, dropout, sexual harassment, and a whole lot of other things. And it was, although it was meant to be a continuous stuff, but we couldn't hold it up because of my movement and my travel and a whole lot of other things. That was one of the experience I used. And secondly, another experience I used was I had to go back to 2014 during the Ebola crisis. Then I was still a student. So I was moving from home to school. So I had to join some of my friends in medical school, from people from my church, to we organize an outreach, various outreaches, teaching community people who there's a place called the Goba here in Benin City, people that you see. So we are teaching them, how to maintain a hygiene, personal hygiene to avoid the spread of the Ebola virus. So these were the 2 major experiences I used in my application.
So how about you, Tony?
Mine. Yeah, I used a very interesting one. Okay, because I understood from what I studied that nothing is unimportant in this environment. So I picked one that has to do with extracurricular activity. While I was schooling in India, I was a leader for a dance competition in our conference. So I used that one, and I also stated that we won the second place. So because it was a leadership role also, putting people together to dance, and then you were able to win. So I used that. And secondly, I used another one that related to my field. I'm one of the behind the scene ESCO of my national association in Nigeria. And at that time, we were proposing that Ondo University Medical School to start our program. So I was actively involved, and I mentioned that we are proposing that a school should start our program. And I was actually involved in that, so I used that as part of my leadership role.
Yeah. And to add to this, you want to say something for me?
No, go ahead, Chike.
So to add to this, since my course was, when I was writing my application, my course, what I was applying for was international administration and global governance. So when I noticed that some of my leadership experience, does not capture the course, I had to bring out, when I was in university, some people from Uniben might know me here. I was the ELECO chairman of social sciences. I was representing the full faculty at the university level. So to link my leadership experience to my course of study, I had to bring out that experience. Like, I was the ELECO chairman of social science from from 2014 to 2015. Just to make my SL, my application strong.
Yeah. To respond to a question, Elizabeth Oyetunji, so far it was a legal engagement as a dance leader. I approached my school and they gave me the letter, they stamped it because I was involved in it. And concerning my organization also, I presented to the leader of the organization and they stamped because it was true, it wasn't false. So I was not claiming what is not. So you can actually get a legal letter from where you contributed. You don't have to create anything. That's Margaret was saying, if you did it, it will be easy for you to present it because it's yours. Thank you.
Yes, on my part, I think I have quite a number of leadership experience. I'd worked in even Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, and I was head of unit in different places. But I knew I needed to show proof. So I started from, like Mobolaji said, from the university days. I was into my association, Student Unionism, and I was the welfare secretary. I was the financial secretary 2 years. And we have something when you do, you have certificate of diploma to prove that you've served. So everything I've achieved there, along with the ESCO, the one I proposed, I put it up, take it to my provost. It was signed, the register, it was signed, and that was what I used. I also used, currently then, I was also a coordinator, class coordinator, part 2, the whole faculty. So it's real. Those are the things. So my role as the coordinator, I highlighted it, I put it up, I sent it. I was also the treasurer for my national executive, that's the whole country, NAOT, and I put it up. It was stamped, highlighted my role, sent it, and those are the things. And just to digress, we've said this before, but in my discussion with some of these panelists and scholarship board, it's not like it is very, very important for you to have volunteer work. But what volunteer work proves to them is that it proves your passion. You go all the way. It's a volunteer all the way. You have something in you that you need to contribute. And that's what it tells them when they see you present something on volunteer, like you have passion for this and I've gone all out to do something. And that's why appear quite interesting and important. Thank you.
Yeah, Mobolaji, I wanted to add something. Like we're talking about SDG that I was saying. Like, for example, if somebody is interested in health and well-being, that is your interest in SDG. I'm trying to give a practical example now. Like me, I said zero hunger, and I linked it with food bank. And Lagos Food Bank is doing something that is very, like, something that is novel. Their model is novel in Nigeria. So let's say, for example, somebody is applying for the next application, and then your interest is health and well-being. That's your background. Or you have interest in no poverty. You can actually use WASH. There's something that is called WASH, water, sanitation, hygiene. So if for instance you are having an application that's related to health, and you say I did a work that's related to WASH, that is something that is tangible. In fact, that WASH, they call it WASH initiative. In the spread of this coronavirus, there has been a lot of talk about it. So anybody that is going to apply, for example, related to health field or related to an SDG that has to do with water or anything, you can use that as an example. It's just for you to say, maybe present where you are working, you are doing something that has to provide sanitation for people. You are building borehole, you are building, maybe like you are supplying people with sanitary items. That still has to do with WASH. So that's example of what we are saying. Like, when you mention that WASH, oh, I worked and we did something that was interested in WASH initiative. The person that is reading the application, once they just see that WASH initiative, they just know it's related to United Nations. Is something that is related to SDG. So that's like an example. So there are some specifics in each SDG. When we say SDG, we are not saying you should go and read what is SDG 1. Not saying we should cram it to. Each of those SDGs, they have targets. Like I wrote on zero hunger. I talked of food waste, because if you look at SDG 2, it has like, is this 4 or 5 targets? So if you are writing your own SDG, look at the targets. Which of the targets does my own SDG actually relate to? Because when you look at those little details, what to write will not be difficult. So like what I said about WASH, if you're actually doing anything that is supplying sanitary to people now, you can begin to read about WASH. If your NGO where you are working, your company has dug pipe-borne water for people, that is still WASH. Because you have helped, if you have educated people about washing of hands, it's still WASH. WASH, water, sanitation, and hygiene. So.
Okay, thank you very much for your contributions. Okay, I'm looking at the questions, and most of them are really about people's personal profiles and all. And I've been trying to reply to each one about the questions and all. So okay, so right now we will soon be ending this session, and in conclusion, before we see other questions, I would like to ask about the coronavirus situation in your universities. Like, what are your universities doing? What did they do when it started? And recently, I think they are planning to resume on-campus studies by the next autumn. So I don't know I want to know, like, what plans your respective universities have put in place to resume classes and all. Okay.
Why do I have to be the one to speak first always? Okay. When the coronavirus pandemic started in Sweden, when it became so serious in Sweden, University of Gothenburg suspended all the school teaching activities. We had to switch online. Like, this is one of those things in developed countries. Like, in schools, you have unlimited internet. At home, you have internet. If you are staying somewhere, you have internet, the light or the power is always on. So we switch to online learning. So now, international students in University of Gothenburg, before now we are having issues because the migration agency, that is, how do you call it in Nigeria? Immigration, right? Yes, the migration agency said that because before now, the VC sent us an email that our September, the autumn semester will resume 100% online. Now, the migration agency said that as an international student, if your study is 100% online, you're not going to get resident permit extension. And most of us in social sciences and those other people in art, we can continue online study. But people in dentistry and engineering, they can't do that. Now, we noticed that this is going to affect us. What we did that, our departments, we wrote a letter to the head of department and other people to send. We send it to the VC to argue in respect of us, to represent us, that we don't want to continue with online studies, that we want to return back to the classroom. So when they had the meeting, they have several hours of meeting, different days. After the meeting, the VC sent us another email that they have resolved it, that we can now apply for a resident permit, and that the class will be much more in class, like physical learning, than online. So, and to show you how these people listen to people, like, we had to engage, and they engaged us, and they had to change it.
Oh, interesting. How about our folks, our friends from Lund University? I think you have finished, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Interestingly, like I said, we've been doing some courses that will be, say, 50% online, 50% class, and all that. So it wasn't very hard for them to quickly switch to remote learning, and just exactly what is needed. Most of the classes, you have a PowerPoint presentation from the lecturers. So it's the same thing. They organize training for the lecturers on how to operate Zoom. We use Zoom mostly, and that's what we've been using. Zoom, and every time, the assistant dean, the vice dean, the dean, your program coordinator, your lecturers, every one of them will just be posting if there's any issue. There are places to visit. There are places to visit. As a matter of fact, Lund University went extra mile for international students. They wrote and they put it there. If you have any issue as related to, you can apply for fund. In fact, it's not aside. For everyone that applies, 30,000 crown. That's about 3,000 euros.
No, don't get it wrong. It's for those that just finished. Those that just finished their program and are not able to travel home because of coronavirus pandemic can apply for financial support, and they are going to give 30,000 kroner for that.
Yes.
Wait, the university?
No,
yeah,
LU University, Lund University.
But they exempted SI scholars. Because
the SI scholars also have that, so they exempted SI scholars. But for all international students that are having issues with finance, I think that was it.
Just because they're not able to go home because of coronavirus pandemic. Only for them.
Finance should apply, and and that was, and they kept reiterating, and they kept posting it like they're pressing people like apply.
And I heard that SI is giving this something like that to their.
Yeah, SI gave us.
And the University of Gothenburg is paying 15,000 kroner to international students as a, should I say, as a slash in the school fees.
Generally, there's a petition. Generally, there's a petition to the parliament on that. So, and we believe that they'll be working on that as of now, because people are now saying that they should reduce the school fees, work on the school fees and all that because of the pandemic. So maybe for 1 or 2 years, we're expecting that there should be something. Yeah, in that regard. So remote learning all through. And the only thing I think where somebody like me feel actually felt it most was we had a big plan for our graduation, even from the old college, and it's been it was cancelled because of coronavirus, and that was it.
Yeah. After that, we were able to organize amongst ourselves graduation. So we didn't have any staff, but they sent video messages to us to appreciate and to congratulate us on our completion. Then another beautiful thing about the remote class was that we're able to go anywhere and receive the lectures. Once you have your phone, there's internet, you just connect with your phone. So at the time, we're able to combine 2 activities. We just appear on the video, and then like most of you are doing, we just go out of the video and we are doing something else and listening to the class, So in a way, we're able to do a lot of things. There was a day that we had class till later in the evening, and I had to go get my child in school because they called that he was sick. And it was a compulsory class. If I missed it, I have to write a makeup assignment. So I was in the bus and walking around while in class, so that in a way helped to manage my, my circumstances.
Actually, I enjoyed the online class. However, I'm someone that I talk too much. Like, I like meeting people. Like,
if it's not Panadol, it can never be Panadol.
I love meeting people, talking, discussing with my class. At times, okay, because maybe for most of us in social science, at times after class, there's this thing we normally do, maybe after final assignments or something like that. Maybe something like 10 of us or 15 or no matter the number. We go to a nearby, there's a nearby bar in the school. We sit down with drinks. Maybe either we'll be arguing about politics, international politics, or we'll be arguing about child labor or any other thing. Like, I mean, this spices up the social relation between people. But during the online class, everything disappeared. So there was even a time that I stayed at home for 1 week. I wanted to run. I was about running mad. I had to lock my room, leave my room. I mean, go start meeting people. I was like,
How was it like in Uppsala, Margaret?
Yeah, it was online. My class, we were actually lucky. We were just finishing a class, and then we were supposed to start another class, and then the whole corona lockdown just came. So we did the whole class online, the group work online, the presentation online. In fact, it was like, I find it very, very interesting, because I know sometimes like there's some webinars I join from Nigeria, like I join, like they're doing in Nigeria and I'm joining. So you see that some of them, their internet gets interrupted, but here everything is just like, it was top notch. Like anywhere you are, you log on, you are in class, and then the lecturers are always writing. The particular lecturer, Mr. Christian, always asking, are you okay? Is everything fine? As in, they make you feel like you don't feel like you're alone. And then my course coordinator, if you have any problem, talk. If you have, just for you not to feel alone. And then the vice chancellor is always updating the student portal if you have any challenge. And they actually gave some students scholarship this period for people that need assistance. Yeah, because some students that were self-supporting themselves, since they could not work, because of the coronavirus, all these student jobs, those that could not work, some of them got scholarship and all that. So it's although it's not, online cannot be like, it's a case of, if it's not Panadol, it can never be Panadol. It was really, really challenging, because people in my class, I always enjoy seeing my classmates, although I'm the only like African student, and then when the arguments come, and I'm making like, the class is always fun because you always have a fresh perspective to everything they're saying. Yeah, but the fact that internet was constant, for me, it is really, really like, it's then, like, if you are not in your room, if, for instance, I can stay a whole month, I don't need to buy data, because as I'm in my room, there's data. If I go to this, if I'm walking, I go to the centrum, there's data. Sometimes you're walking on the road, you even come to a place that there's free Wi-Fi. So all these things made learning very, very interesting. And I found out that many students in Nigeria had a challenge, because sometimes you are doing a webinar, maybe they are doing like some of these programs that they do on, that they put online for people to join. You see that many people in Nigeria could not join. So for me, the COVID was not really, except that I had to just be inside and always be online. That's it. I really don't have any challenge. And Uppsala is not packed. Like, I don't think we are many Uppsala like in Gothenburg or in Lund or in Stockholm. So I can, like, you can be on the whole street, you will not even see anybody. That's how Uppsala. Yeah, Uppsala is big, but it's still small at the same time.
Someone asked a question here, and I would like to,
Well,
speak on that question.
Okay.
He said that, do you have any specific advice for students with arts and or humanities background as regarding the scholarship application? And from Faith Ilesami, sorry. To say this, there is this misconception that scholarships are for first-class students and science students. That's a very big lie. I've always told people that, I used to say that, I always say this, that those of us in social sciences and humanities, from what I have seen, or from people around me, I think that, we have more, the way the world is going right now, we have more chances of winning scholarship than people in sciences. But most people don't know this. For example, I study international administration and global governance here in Gothenburg. In my class, we have five SI scholars in my class alone. 5 people, yes.
wow.
One from Belarus, 2 from Georgia, 1 from Tanzania, myself from Nigeria, and the other guy from Kenya.
Wow.
5 in the same course. So it actually affected a lot of, because the University of Gothenburg, they have school scholarship for international students. So because of this, since 5 people are already in SI in our department, one of my friends from Nigeria is a first class. He graduated with first class. He couldn't secure the university scholarship, because if they add it to our class, we'll be making up 6 people with scholarship in the same class. So if you are in social science and humanity, how should I say that, you have to play your game well, or know what you're
like
looking.
it really does, like I think it really doesn't matter. Like Mobalaji said, it's like, I think one of the blog posts he did about, if you have third class, and your challenge is how to get admission. Like,
Yeah.
because like I said earlier, when I first spoke about, when I weighed my option, like, okay, last time I chose the SLU, I didn't get his admission. See, maybe I should even try and put this Uppsala first. What about Uppsala? If Uppsala is so competitive, mad, and this sustainable development is very, very, very competitive. It was, in fact, I didn't even know that until actually we resumed, and then they were telling us how they have to, like, people were waiting on the waiting list, and if you are not ready to, like, you have to accept some of these things. You have to accept your registration on time, because if you don't accept, they will assume that you didn't want to join the class, and then they have to give to the next. Your goal is, I need to get admitted. It's good to go to Lund, it's good to go to Gothenburg, it's good to go to Uppsala, it's good to go to Chalmers and all that, but you have to be sure you are going to get admitted. That's why Mobolaji said, like, if you had someone that has 2-2, at least I noticed that this year they gave many Nigerian students admission at
the highest number of Nigerians is
Christland, or there's a school, there's a university like that, Christland or something, the university. Yeah. So like, I'm not saying, the truth is, when you come here and you start doing this school, there's nothing like the way we do in Nigeria. Oh, I went to Unilag because you went to Kogi State University. Your school, my school is better. Nobody, you are in Sweden, you are in Sweden. You don't fit. So your goal is, how do I get it? How do I get admitted? That should be your goal. And that is why I said earlier, take your time. Go through this school one by one. Look at the requirements. Don't rely on it. Use your eye and read and be sure that I qualify, so that you're not gonna put yourself in one chance. I remember when I was applying, a guy got into loan and ended up on the waiting list. I'm not saying you shouldn't apply in all these top schools. Like I know what is, and I know the kind of pressure it took me, because the way most of these big schools, they will not tell you you qualify to the last minute, and then you are there thinking. That is why when you are applying, your first and second choice should always be, if I don't get the first one, then I will get the second one, so that either ways so your goal is to get admitted. I'm not saying you shouldn't aim high. I'm not saying you shouldn't apply to Harvard and all that, but you yourself, which school can I get in? Because no matter how good your application is with SI, if you don't get his admission, that is all. No matter whether they stamp it 10 times, they put seal. If you don't get admission, every other thing is not important.
If I may add to the COVID-19 adjustments, there's this culture in Sweden. You always have fika break. You don't sit in class for 1 hour straight up. You need to have at least 10 minutes or 15 minutes within an hour. So for those 15 minutes or 10 minutes, you walk around, you move around. You don't sit in a place for 1 hour at a stretch. It's not appropriate. It's not done here. Even in church, we still try to take fika or a break. Yeah, so even while we are doing this online classes, we still take break.
Yeah,
guys, okay, go get your coffee, go get your tea, and sit with it. So you don't feel stressed. You relax your brain. You don't get bombarded with 2 hours, 10 hours that we have in Nigeria. Other countries, even in India, you sit for long and you are too stressed, So we take break. Even while we are doing online, we still take a break. You stretch your leg, you have your tea. Like this one we are having, and we are spending more than 1 hour. So we are not doing this time. We are drinking in between the session, because that is the culture. You take break, you relax while having your classes or any activity.
And the learning experience here, it helps you to be confident. Because in Nigeria, it used to be, if I not carry first in this class, then I'm not good enough. But here, but it's people here. Maybe somebody's grade, 5 is the highest grade. Some people have 3, and they are just cool with it. Let me just pass and be going. But the goal is,
they don't care about it.
Just how can I apply it? How can I apply it? And for me, that is something, for me, that is really, really good. Because then my self-confidence is not about I'm reading, let me go and cram now. What did this person say? In Nigerian lecture, they'll tell you, define animal biochemistry. And I'm trying to draw all the chemical, in fact, all the chemical, C-H and all that. I can't even remember again now.
Talking about this fecal break you're saying, when I came here during my first lecture, so we were having a lecture. The class started by 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So by 12:45 or so, the lecturer said that we need to have a break. I was like, these people they're not serious. Like,
Nigerians is still the worry. Your class is the hot. You want to do book.
So then I realized that this sufferhead has become so much part of me that I need to sit in class for 2 hours to show that I'm serious. Okay, just for 5 minutes, you are telling me to like.
If the lecturer forgets in my class, we remind him.
Yeah.
It's like we need to have a break. And the man goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." Or the lady goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then when the time is, if the time is getting like our class is normally 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. If he's getting to that 12 o'clock, he's looking at his time. He's looking at his time. Okay, I'm so sorry. If it's 1 minute past 12, oh, I'm so sorry I took your time. I'm really, in my mind, I say, hey, Nigeria lecturer, you go sit down there.
No, I'm laughing because I know what it means to remind a lecturer in Nigeria that his class is almost over.
You can't remind him.
That takes me back to one aspect.
You can't remind him. You know, and all these things is what is affecting us. Like, you should be able to ask questions. Ask questions. Like, if a lecturer is lecturing in class and I don't understand what he says, I ask him, please, sir, in what context do you mean? I even call them by their first name. Please, Christian. Please, Benjamin. What do you mean? And then they tell you, oh, this is what I mean. Nobody's going to penalize you for asking questions.
Yeah, that takes me back to an aspect of. Can I speak?
Yes, you can go.
Yeah, that takes me to an aspect of Sweden University Organization. You know, students have rights. You know, we are part of the governance of the university. So they have cadres. So we have representatives in the governance. So no decision is made without student involvement. That is why we see all these things by maintaining hours, maintaining classes, or informing students on time about it. Something happened at a time in our class. There was a lecturer that was supposed to come to lecture us, and I think she was not aware that it was an international class, that she was going to speak English, you know. So when she got there, she realized that it was supposed to be an English class. So I think she was not prepared, so she left, and we were not informed. So we go to the class, and the class was not holding. Come and see the way you people they behave. Well, like the cancel class, we take your own problem. You go home. They're like, no, you can bring us to the class.
You can't do that. You can't do that. They took it up, and
before we knew, we're getting it from different aspects.
Apologies.
We are sorry.
Apologies.
We are sorry.
Apologies.
We are sorry.
Apologies.
That's the power that students
from
have.
Different cadre. Not just
in Sweden.
Yeah, even my class, when we applied that we came, they say we are going to do internship. But when we came, they say, oh, no more internship. Hey, all the European students in my class, they took this matter up. When we applied, you say we're going to do internship the second year. So why are we not doing the internship? Then our class rep went to the meeting with the Senate. This thing I'm telling you, that's how we eventually have to do internship this second year. So this would have, they've updated their admission requirements to say that no internship, so that when you come, the flexibility is really, really, really good. So if I encourage anybody to come here to study, it's one of those things that you learn and you still be chilled, and then you begin to think of other, begin to think of life in a wholesome way. Like in school, when you are in school in Nigeria, all your mind is book. You are running, you just have to, but here it's not like that. So you have to, there is more to life, like beyond just school. And so
you were saying something about calling lecturers by their first name.
Yeah.
So why the professor, because I'm in Nigeria, I'm in African group, Professor Marina, why she was scolding me for calling her Professor Marina, and then I would be like, the person mama be this, so like it's someone's mother. Like, why should I be calling someone's mother? And the professor too. Marina. So I should stop putting professor in her name, like Prof Marina. She's
share for your office now. They call me. How do they call you for your office?
Where?
Yeah, in your office. How do they call you for your office?
Everybody's on first name basis.
There was something I was going to add to studying the method of study here. I don't know about your programs, but for us, usually we set our own exams. There are questions that ask you to pick particular
area.
a subject, something of concern, and you develop your introduction, develop your aim, but it must meet the criteria. So I don't know about other programs, but for us, it's like you set your own question, but it must meet the assessment criteria, it must answer everything that they ask you to do. And again, I wanted to add that in Nigeria, mostly we have paper exams. You write in paper and submit. So if you are planning to come, I'm sure many people that are here are planning to come, improve your skill on typing, because you spend a lot of time on the computer. You don't present paperwork. There's nothing like that. Everything is computer. So you can spend time to learn how to type, how to use tools, software tools to improve your presentation skills, So spend time to prepare yourself for that aspect also.
And then everything you need,
question here.
Everything you need is
By
on the student portal.
8:49 p.m.
The material.
My name is Elizabeth Oyetunji. She asks, can I submit my application when it starts in October, or I should wait for the list of eligible courses to be for the scholarship to be released in November?
Okay, let me quickly answer that, because we're almost like time has really gone. So the issue is send that question. You can start applying in October, because you can use the previous list of eligible courses to make your choices and selections. Because really the list doesn't change much over the years, between the years, and you can make your selections with that. But by the time the new list is released in maybe November, December, and you see that there's any change in any course that you selected, you can always make changes to your application up to the deadline in January. So it's not a big problem. And so I think we should round up, because we've really taken a lot of time.
Yeah, they were asking about my contacts. I'm not more on Facebook, so you can find me on Twitter or Instagram. That's it. I've left Facebook, so.
Yeah, Bolaji, I think maybe they should get to you, and you are free to give them my contact. Quite a number of people had asked, and maybe LinkedIn or Facebook, or my email. I'll forward it to you, so you can give it to anyone that's interested to. Because quite a number of people had asked, and I know I cannot attend to them here, so.
It's okay. All right, no problem. Yeah, I will share your contacts in the Facebook group, so that everybody can have access to it. So, I've enjoyed it really.
Talk about the Scholars.Africa platform.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people, I think most people are still on that Facebook page, but I think you should talk about that platform again inside this Zoom like this, so that people will hear again.
Okay. Well, the idea is okay. When I got the scholarship in 2017, I was like, okay, let me see if I can help others too with information about how to win the scholarship, and I created a lot of platforms, Facebook group, Facebook page, email list, and all, and so that's what at that time there was no really a specific name like that for the platforms and everything. It was just at the beginning of this year, and I was like, okay, I wanted to have a website for it, somewhere that we have some real estate on the web, and I was checking the available website names, and I saw Scholars.Africa was available. I was like, okay, and it makes sense. It's perfect for what I've been doing, and it makes sense. And so I just registered the web name and the domain name and got the website up and running and all. So that's the idea. It's majorly for African students to come together and learn about scholarships. And up to now, we've been talking about Sweden. And also I've noticed that many people are also interested in other countries, Canada, UK, Germany, and all. And I'm also interested in working with scholarship holders in all these other countries and see how we can be able to help everyone. are always interested. So that's how it has been, and thank you guys for keeping faith and joining me, and working with me, texting with me, and everything. And I appreciate everything. And
the mentor.
And thank you, everyone that has joined this today. To our panelists, Margaret, to Chike, to Funili, to Tony, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate this. And to everyone in the audience that has joined, thank you so much. This session is being recorded, so I'll make it available again. I'll get everyone will have access to the recording after this session. So thank you. So I think it's time we all retire for the night. Yeah. So thank you so much.
It's not night here.
Yeah, it's still as
9 o'clock or 2 minutes to 9, and the sun
I can see from Funi's window.
The sun is not going to set. It's not going to set until it's 11.
And it's 9 p.m. already.
11. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, and if we can get it, the same admission period, admission to the same school, to same courses, you can also.
Yeah.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone has questions, if you still have questions, of course there were many people that have questions that we couldn't attend to everything. But if you have any further questions or you have questions that we didn't attend to, you can just send an email to coach@scholars.africa, coach@scholars.africa. And
it's also on Instagram. You have to tell he's also on Instagram.
Yeah, the Scholars of Africa. Yeah, it's on Instagram, Scholars of Africa on Instagram, on Twitter, Scholars_Africa, on Facebook, it's my personal official page, So, but really, if you really want, I prefer everyone send, if you have questions, just send questions to Coach, an email to the email to coach@scholars.africa. So that will be all for today, and thank you very much. Have a great night.